Hey everyone, what is going on? I'm Matthew Oliver with Stillwater Alchemy, and today we're going to really break down this Taurus new moon, understand what can we expect, what are the blessings that we can prepare for, and in addition, look to Jupiter, which recently ingressed into Taurus, and how we can use that to our advantage. Because in my opinion, this is one of the most auspicious, blessed, fertile, abundant lunations that we have for the year of 2023. So to help understand this a little bit better, a lot of people in my life, clients, friends, loved ones, the past few weeks with eclipse season has been intense. We knew this was coming, especially given the most recent eclipse that was the full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. And I still have clients that have dominant fixed energy that are saying they're exhausted. They thought they were done with the work. What is going on? In terms of the work, certain triggers that have come up and then they came up again. And that's the thing. And I've said this before in different content that the work never goes away. The shadow is not going to go away. However, the work gets to become deeper, understanding gets to enhance. And oftentimes when we're learning these lessons so viscerally, it's for a greater purpose, for our own healing and evolution, but also that we can be of greater service to those around us, whether it's greater compassion and empathy for others, whether it's to hold space, whether it is to act as a catalyst to move you further in the direction that you're always meant to be. Because regardless if you have a lot of fixed energy or not in your chart, the fixed signs being Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Leo, there's still going to be parts in your life that you like that structure and routine and fixity. And sometimes, especially for those of us that do have strong fixed energy, until you get that extreme catalyst of going through something extremely unpleasant, it's unlikely that you're going to change. So give gratitude if you're still in it, if you went through it recently, of something that really caused you to pause, to contemplate, to take a step back, even to understand where this pain and triggering energy is coming from. And depending on when you're watching this, because I'll be releasing it my time, Pacific Standard Time, at the end of day of Wednesday, you can understand that these next few days leading up to the Taurus new moon, which is going to be on Friday, May 19th, it's a time to relax and release anyway. I giggle because it reminded me of that scene in Mean Girls where Lindsay Lohan was saying gruel because she wanted to say great and then say cool, and then it came out as gruel. And that's also a great reminder too that Mercury is still in the post-retrograde shadows. So I also have a few clients in this boat as well that they're waiting for correspondence and they're waiting things to be delivered or for things to finalize. So if you're in that boat and giving it any anxiety or worry, it's coming. And that's a good segue to move into looking at the transit a little bit to help to understand this Jupiter in Taurus ingress. So here's the thing. I get this question a lot, and I feel like I finally understood why people are confused about this to this degree. The most common question I get is, what if I don't have a house in my natal chart ruled by Taurus? And people are sending me screenshots of the CoStar app, of the breakdown that it gives you of like what planets are in each house. And then they're like, well, there's no Taurus house. And then I was like, oh, because CoStar is only going to give you and say which houses, like number 1 through 12, if you have planets in that sign. So no matter which house system you use, Taurus is going to show up. Like, even if I just show you here, so right now I'm displaying it in whole signs, but if we just edit this and I'm going to say Placidus, which is the default setting in almost every other calculator, including CoStar. If we use Placidus, which we can now see here, Taurus is still going to be in the 11th house. And then the 11th house here now includes Aries and Gemini. But no matter what, Taurus is still going to be in that 11th house. So for you, if this was your chart, you would know to look to the 11th house and 11th house themes regarding Taurus energy. Now, going back to whole sign, because this is a way that I like to teach and that I think makes a lot of sense for people when they're starting to learn astrology. No matter what, it's always going to go in order of the astrology signs. So if you write down the order of the signs and you know your ascendant sign, then you just go in sequential order with the rising sign being the first house, and then going in order until you find where Taurus would fall in your chart. So that can check the box in terms of what if I don't have a house ruled by Taurus. The second most popular question is, what if I don't have any planets in Taurus? And again, there's only 10 planets. There's 12 signs. So if you don't have any personal planets in Taurus, that's almost easy to then help to understand what's going on right now, because Jupiter being in a house where there's nothing else going on, you really just get to then focus on the Jupiterian themes. And why I'm saying this is because Jupiter is activated in this Taurus new moon. And we're also seeing this leading up to the new moon as well. And I've been hearing a lot of beautiful things from clients earlier today, which was Wednesday, when the moon exalted in Taurus, even though she's in her dark moon phase. A lot of people were getting blessings, especially when they just took time to relax and other things were coming through. So if you're watching this on Thursday, as long as it resonates, take some time to slow down, to rest, because the moon is still going to be hitting Mercury and Uranus before we get to the new moon on Friday. Now, look at this on Wednesday, and you can do this from a retrospective of what downloads were coming in. How are you feeling? Were you feeling called to invest into something, to change your habits, to change your mindset? It's going to be different for everyone depending on which house in your natal chart is ruled by Taurus. When we get to Thursday, we now see the moon closely conjunct Uranus. Remember, we're talking about the moon. This can talk about your body, your emotions, your connection to the feminine, whether that is a feminine person in your life, a feminine entity, the energy of feminine with relaxing, with receiving. It could be all the above. So the notion that there is likely to be a stark shift or something in your life that you're like, oh, I no longer maybe want to eat the same foods. I want to switch it up. I maybe am going to start working on my mental health because I want to have a stronger relationship with mind, body, and soul. And my mind can sometimes wander throughout the day. I'm going to address that. Or maybe you want to connect in with a certain female in your life. There could be many different things. Heed these downloads, take time to get still, even after the new moon, but especially leading up to it and noticing what was coming through. So when we get to the new moon, all these little downloads, all these hits of intuition, they're not random whatsoever. I personally don't believe in coincidence. This is the energy of having 5 planets and the North Node being activated in that Taurus ruled part of your chart. And furthermore, the moon is exalted in Taurus. It's arguably one of the strongest positions for the moon to be. And this is a new moon. It is a brand new cycle for fertility, for abundance. Like if I were to just, for those who are familiar with tarot, it would be like the Empress with the 9 of Pentacles. It's just compounding blessings, compounding interest, all the goods. Throw in the Ace of Cups for good measure in terms of helping to understand the blessed nature of this. And even just looking at this chart, when the new moon goes exact, it's a Cancer rising ascendant for this chart, which means that the moon is the chart ruler as it's all starting. If you understand that, that's fine. It just further amplifies the energy of the moon in this part. And I said this in the week ahead, but everything in Taurus is being aspected by every other planet. Venus and Mars in Cancer, there's sextile aspects. There's a square with Jupiter to Pluto. There's also a sextile with the sun and the moon to Neptune. So be aware of your dreams on Thursday night. Also just your dreams in general as we're wrapping up the intensity from the eclipses that we just experienced. But for me, this is planting the seeds towards your dream life or towards an aspect of your dream life that you're really feeling called to focus in. And again, as a hint, as clarity, look to the house in your chart ruled by Taurus, because that will give a very specific niche area of how this is going to play out. And of course, for those of you that have strong Taurus energy in your chart, Taurus sun, Taurus rising, Taurus moon, huge activations coming through. A lot of people are saying with you have your natal north node in Taurus as well. I got that question a lot in the DMs as well. It's like, of course, the north node can act as a karmic point, a point of destiny, what your soul is trying to achieve. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be easy, but it means that things are going to open, going to expand, give you the opportunity. I think all of us have been in a situation where a brand new opportunity has opened, and it meant that work was involved or further investment, but something that we really wanted anyway. And anything that happens for the first time that's brand new is going to require work. So a little bit of trial and error, getting used to the new equilibrium until we can finally settle and ground in at that level, at that new frequency, right? The last thing I wanted to mention here that I kept getting a lot of questions on, oh, it escapes me now. It'll come back. I did want to mention one other thing with regards to this energy. Literally the next day, right after the new moon, Mars moves into Leo, and Mars is thus making a square to Jupiter. And I talked about this again the week ahead, but to reiterate this, there's going to be a point of action that is likely to be going to be called upon you. If not, that you've already been feeling this, but this analogy too, given we're in this Taurus energy, it's like if you have a brand new garden that has been tilled, fresh, anything you plant is going to grow. And then you don't go outside and plant the seeds. And then 6 months later, you're like, why didn't anything grow? Because you didn't plant the seeds when everything was fresh and ready for you to go in May. So come September, October, 5 to 6 months later, also when we have the Taurus full moon, there's going to be nothing to harvest. And also using this example again, if you plant the seeds and then don't take care of them and you don't water them and you don't weed them, what do you think is going to happen? Nothing is going to grow. So if we're going to initiate something new for the very first time, it needs constant work. It doesn't mean you have to work all the time, but it's likely that doing a little bit every single day of reaffirming a new belief, of putting forth that action, of studying a little bit for maybe a new course, it is going to reap beautiful results. And from my vantage point, in terms of what people are telling me, whether it's in the DMs, clients, personal acquaintance, friends, romantic interest, they're already feeling it. It's like it's very loud. It's very obvious. This is what I want to say. It came back. A lot of people in the DMs, there was like a little hint of desperation or anxiety. Like, I hope so. I've been going through so much. Why is this happening? In terms of all the turbulence. And again, remember that those eclipses were not meant to be easy per se. It was meant to bring out everything that is not aligned, what is no longer working, so we can understand and have more compassion for ourselves, for others, but also to see where there can be greater work implemented to make our life more enjoyable. And again, I think sometimes people hear work and it's like, I don't want to do so much more work. Our lungs constantly work. Our heart is constantly working to support us. If you take care of your body and your vessel, these organs don't have to strain themselves to do their jobs. They just do it. You don't even think about breathing. You don't think about blinking. You don't think about digesting your food. However, if you don't take care of yourself and it starts to hurt to breathe, it hurts to digest food, then you're like, oh, this is a lot of work just to eat a meal. And then it gets very challenging. So isn't it a blessing, A, what our body can do for us to keep us alive and healthy and feeling good? But secondly, if you're feeling a certain type of way, like the work isn't working or that the things you're wanting aren't here yet, that energy is coming to the surface to gain your attention now, so you don't keep going down a path that isn't aligned, or continue dating someone who is not good for you, or keep going in a situation that is not healthy for your overall well-being. And this is also part of that thought as well. This is what I was thinking personally with this new moon and getting excited for what's to come. I was like, I am so blessed and protected with regards to romantic relationships. And like all these relationships that didn't work out, even the ones that I wanted when I was a lot younger, I was like, how blessed was I that I was never put in a situation where a relationship went on longer than it was meant to. that I didn't have to invest so much time, energy, and money into a relationship that never works. And there were times where I really liked the person. There was even one I was thinking about yesterday. I was like, oh, that could have been so good. And then I quickly like snapped myself out of it. I think it's because sometimes when I watch Sex in the City, like puts me in this headspace of like love and longing. But I thought that wasn't aligned. If it was aligned, it'd be easy and it would have worked. Period. And you get to this point, at least in my experience with the spiritual journey, where it becomes so much easier to trust and to have faith and to have patience. And patience in the sense of like, if it's not meant for me, it's not meant for me right now. If it's meant for me, it'll always come back. Like I've had, if we're talking about love, Taurus energy, I've had lovers where it was like a misconnection. I was like, oh, I really want to connect with that person. And then it ended up being like 4, 5, 6 years down the road that I met them in a different city. And I was like, oh, hey. And they're like, oh, hey, blah, 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 blah. It's like, so of course, like I knew back when I first met them or was talking to them, like we will connect at some point in time. And then we do years later, which goes back to one of my core beliefs that you can't miss out on blessings that are meant for you. However, and I see this a lot with clients, if you know you have to do something and you don't do the work to plant the seed, to water the garden, to pull the weeds, and then you get mad that you don't have a beautiful harvest 6 months later, that's okay. You can go out and buy vegetables. You can lean on other people for support. You get to learn what you need to do differently come next planting season. Or you can still plant beautiful vegetables, not in May. You can plant them at different times. You can have different beautiful things. You can build your own greenhouse so that you don't need a garden to plant and to build on a fixed schedule. But we do have to hold accountability. We do have to look at our actions every single day and see what's working and what's not so that we can grow and evolve. One last example I'll give with this is that I didn't used to love cleaning at all. It was very annoying. And it came from when I was younger, coming from a very strict upbringing, that like nothing was ever clean enough. It would be like, no, you have to go further, like dust this more, do all these things. So I was always like, oh, if it's never going to be good enough, I just won't do it at all. And that switched as I became older. And I remember when I was going through a 6-house annual perfection, so I would have been 29. There would be times where it's like I would just leave the dishes in the sink at night and then I would clean them in the morning. And then I got to a point I was like, it'd be so much easier if I just woke up and all the dishes were cleaned, like dried. I just put them away and then I'd start the day. And then now that I'm at this place 2 years later, now that I'm 31, it's like I enjoy cleaning so much. I give gratitude for my home and I'm like, I'm so blessed to live in a beautiful home. So the act of cleaning is just an extended gratitude practice. It doesn't seem like a chore. And me doing a little bit every day means that I never have to overly begrudgingly do this task ever again. I never hire a cleaning person because I love taking that time for my space. I also have my natal moon in the 4th house, so I love connecting with my home in that way. That's going to be different for everyone. I'm not saying that everyone has to adopt that principle, but if you can take something, understand why you don't like doing it, whether it's exercise, whether it's journaling, whether it's meditating, whether it's cleaning, whether it's whatever it is, especially if you're feeling called to do it, if there's a reason why you don't like doing it, it's most likely linked to when you were younger, something triggering from your upbringing. If we can reshift the narrative of what it means to do that task for yourself and not connect it with a painful story or past experience, then we get to see what else comes up. And then oftentimes you can link it to a state of gratitude. So that, especially with Taurus energy, it's fixed Earth ruled by Venus. It's doing things at your own pace in a way that you enjoy. But if you don't enjoy doing something that is going to benefit you, we have to either shift our mindset so that we can enjoy doing the thing that we want to do, also with the people that we want to do it with. But also, is there a way that we get to do that thing every single day and enjoy doing it? And a big one for people can be meditating, or a big one can be the new beliefs and the new mindset. But if you know, even just from the astrology alone, with this new moon conjunct Jupiter, that's spending 30 seconds, 60 seconds envisioning your dream life every single day, would get you much further to that dream life, if not having it right in the palm of your hand in 6 months. Don't you think it would be worth 60 seconds of your day to get that energy by just simply envisioning, feeling, journaling, writing it out? I think most of you are going to say yes. And if you can't commit 60 seconds a day to write something out in your journal, to voice something out loud, to feel the feelings of already having it, that's also okay. It just means that you probably don't want it that bad enough. And sometimes it's okay to be honest. Sometimes it's okay that a certain thing that we want isn't a priority. But when people give up because it's not here right now, that's also going back to the gardening analogy. It's like when you plant the seed, if you were to come out 5 days later and then be like, it's not working, I'm going to give up on my garden and just go on vacation. That's fine. But we know that certain seeds take a bit longer to grow and that you might not get the instant gratification. But we want to continually show up, continually rewrite the narrative, continually water the garden, continually weed the garden, even if it's super hot. And there's like, remember, because I grew up on a huge acreage. So like gardening can be very visceral for me because every single summer we'd have a massive garden. And we lived in the prairies where we can get really dry. And certain summers it wouldn't rain at all. So it'd be like you were out there weeding the garden a lot with watering it by hand a lot. And I remember the summers where it did rain, I was like, oh, thank goodness. We don't have to water. All we have to do is weed. It was like easy summer. Bless, also a good moment to bless every single farmer around the world who works very diligently to produce beautiful produce for us. Thank you. But I remember for me, I was like, I can either wait to do this weeding as a chore, or I can get up early. Again, this summer vacation, I was in high school or like junior high or all the above. But I was like, I'd rather wake up early, weed this garden before it gets to like plus 34 outside, and then have the afternoon to chill, play video games, hang out with my friends. And then I can water at night. And this goes back to us getting to rewrite the narrative, create our own schedule for what works for us. You don't have to do these things in the way that everyone else does them. You can do it in the way that works for you. But if you don't do it, then sometimes you're put in a position where you have to weed a garden at 2 p.m. because now you forego the responsibilities of doing a little bit each day or doing it on your own terms. So I say all this to say, just giving different analogies so we can understand it better. If you can commit to something with this Taurus new moon, with Jupiter there, with Mercury and Uranus, it can be instantaneous. It can be a shift that no matter how many years, no matter how many decades of the old belief or your old life, that doesn't have to be reality anymore. You can plant whatever you want in the garden. You're like, well, my parents always planted cabbage, so I need to plant cabbage. If I don't plant cabbage, they're going to be mad at me. It's like, if you don't like cabbage, don't plant cabbage. Like, well, maybe I'll plant one row of cabbage. It's like, don't plant any cabbage. Plant carrots, plant corn, plant potatoes, plant whatever you want to plant. Do what you want to do. Certain people being mad or certain people not showing up, that was all in the past with old beliefs and old mindsets. You can do whatever you want now. If you want to plant a whole garden of rutabaga, rhubarb, and radish, do that. If you want to plant flowers in the garden, do that. If you want to make a pool in the garden and that'll be your garden from this point forward, and you know that all your friends are going to bring produce and have beautiful barbecues, do that. Like, there's literally no rules. Do what works for you, but do what you want to do. Do what makes you happy, which is going to elicit you doing it as often as possible. All right. Let me know how that resonates. And we'll just end off this workshop with an easy, breezy, beautiful meditation. So I invite you now to close your eyes, taking a nice deep breath in and exhale. Taking a moment to give gratitude to the earth, to the land that we reside on. For all the opportunity that the earth, the land, give to us every single day. Breathing in and exhale. Further extending that gratitude to your body for keeping you safe and strong, giving you the energy to enjoy all the pleasures of life. Giving gratitude for the pain, for any suffering that you endured over the past few weeks or throughout your life, teaching you valuable lessons on how to mitigate said pain moving forward to increase your understanding and compassion for others and humanity as a whole. Knowing that that pain, that suffering is no longer your story. You don't have to carry that moving forward. Allowing that energy to be released from your body. You can see these orbs of light leaving your auric field, cycling back to the universe, different angels and entities are there collecting these orbs of energy that are no longer aligned, allowing this energy to be recycled back. Breathing in and exhale. Now I want you to envision your favorite flower in your mind's eye. It can be any flower, releasing any judgment on what appears before you. Noticing the size of the flower, the color of the flower, and just noticing how you feel seeing this beautiful energy in front of you. Taking a moment to recall all the beautiful people, places, energies, symbols, and moments in your life, knowing that that beauty gets to continually expand. And notice if this energy of a flower before you has any messages, any downloads for you to receive about your own beauty, your self-worth. What type of beauty you want to cultivate moving forward. The type of beautiful relationships you desire to cultivate further. And the beautiful energy you get to share with others in your life. Breathing in and exhale. Now, before you see a bowl of fruit, and just seeing what fruit is in front of you. It could be one specific fruit or a variety. And just noticing if your intuition is calling you towards one or two different types of fruit at this time. The energy of nourishment. What does your body need right now to increase its health and vitality? Where else can you bring in support into your life? Where are you needing support to pursue your dreams with greater ease? And taking a moment to look back in your life and give all the love and gratitude to angels, messengers, and support that you've received up until this point. Knowing that this earth energy is always here to support us. It's not going anywhere. And we get to support others in turn. Now, in front of you is a beautiful emerald green door. Before you open it, keep in your mind's eye your dream life, including career, love, health, finances, opportunity, adventure, magic, fame. At the top of the door, you see November 2023. You're going to see yourself 6 months from now. When you're ready, open the door and walk through. Your future self has their back to you, But as you walk in and see your surroundings, they run towards you and embrace you. This is yourself 6 months from now. They have a beautiful smile on their face. Their skin is radiating. They look absolutely beautiful. You're impressed. You can't help but smile as well. You have so much you want to ask them, but they put their finger on your lips, and all they want you to do is feel the energy around you, what you've created in such a short period of time, in just 6 months. This is your life, they say. And we're just getting started, they add. They take your hands and they just want you to ground into your heart. And there's a channel from your heart all the way to your third eye, revealing messages, downloads, and intuitive and inspired action that'll lead you to this point in time with ease. Focus on that channel and allow the energy to come through. Releasing all judgment and control. It might be one simple download. It might be a variety of messages. Be open to exactly what you need to receive in this moment. You feel your future self give you a hug. They whisper in your ear, "You got this." Slowly coming back to your body, remembering where you are in this timeline. Allowing your mind, body, and soul to catch up to themselves. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay. How are we feeling? Naturally, as per usual, you can come back to that meditation as many times as you'd like. And I just want you to remember the notion of what are seemingly small actions that you can do as often as possible to get you to where you want to be, where those actions, those thoughts, those beliefs get easier and easier and easier to enact, to believe in, to enjoy doing. And trust that's enough. Trust you don't need to be doing all these elaborate things. Even that garden analogy, it's like if you want to uproot the entire garden and plant a pool, do that. Make sure it's something that you want to do and that you're going to enjoy doing in the long run, your dreams. All right. Naturally, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. There's also my Jupiter and Taurus webinar, which further deep dive into those Jupiterian themes and how you can use this to your advantage. And then also, there are currently still spots available for the live new moon gathering that's happening on Saturday, May 20th at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's where I'm going to be holding intimate space for 6 individuals max, and going into their natal chart, pulling tarot cards, answering any questions that they may have. It's a really beautiful space. So if you want one-on-one time with myself, that option is also available. I'll put all the links and all the information in the description of this video. And I'm wishing you all a fantastic, expansive, beautiful new moon. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.